Welcome to the Double Leg exclusive show. I'm Hey Jive Pick sitting in with the parlay. Let's get into it. UFC Vegas 73. We have 12 fights to pick from, and we had a couple fighters miss weight, but none of them got canceled, luckily. So no cancellations, and we're going to be breaking down our bets as far as why we chose them. This is the Double Leg Premium exclusive show. So this video will be available to the premium members before the fights, and it'll be available to the public after the fight. So we'll get right into it, starting with the main event. Mackenzie Dern, Angela Hill. What do you got in the main event?
I'm all over Angela Hill, man. Like you've stated, Mackenzie Dern, what is she? 0-2 in main events.
0-2.
And she's been a favorite in every single one of her fight. And there's some fights she goes out there and she shows that she's just not on the highest levels in the UFC. Maybe Angela Hill isn't the highest level, but she spot all of the high level girls. I think she's super technical on the feet. I think Mackenzie Dern is getting better on the feet every fight, but there's still going to be a big gap between her and a girl like Angela Hill. And Mackenzie Dern is phenomenal on the ground, but I mean, she only lands takedowns at an 11% clip. So I don't like her chances of spending a whole lot of time on the mat. So yeah, give me Angela Hill to piece her up for 5 rounds on the feet.
I'm with you there. I got a Hill money line plus 158 for a unit. I got Angela Hill by decision plus 215 for 0.4 units. So I think if she wins, it's probably by decision. She's not a big power puncher. The only way I could see this is if like Mackenzie Dern quits, round 3, round 4, round 5. But she's been fairly durable like throughout her career. She's never been finished. So knock on wood for that. And then I got a slight hedge with Mackenzie Dern round 1 sub at plus 550 for 0.2 units. When she does get her subs, they're in round 1, and the only times Angela Hill has been subbed is in round 1. So if she comes out hot and gets the sub in the first round, we're not taking too much of a hit, and a little bit of a insurance play there. I'm also on under 71.5 significant strikes for Mackenzie Dern. She's not a high volume striker, and if she does get a couple rounds on the ground with some control time, or if she's fishing for submissions and can't lock anything up, we're getting that under through 5 rounds. In her 2 5-round fights, she's landed 61 and 49, so she's not even eclipsing that in a 5-round fight. This one could maybe not go 5 rounds. If it does go 5 rounds, I think we're still under there. And then, of course, if she gets the sub early, then that's soaring under. So I like that in the main event. What are your exact bets on the main event?
Yeah, I just got Angela Hill on the money line plus 155 for 1.5 units.
All right. Co-main event, Edmund Shabazian, Anthony Hernandez. I am on Hernandez inside the distance at minus 105 for a unit. I just think he's going to be able to push the pace on him, break him down, get the takedowns. If he can survive round 1, he should be able to take over in round 2 and round 3. If Shabazian can survive for 3 rounds with the pace Hernandez puts on him, then so be it. But I think he should be able to find the finish, whether it's a ground and pound or a submission. It could finish him in the first round too. I mean, you never know. Anthony Hernandez, he's been his stock has been rising. It's been on the rise. So I'm going to back him here inside the distance. 1 unit minus 105 inside the distance. What about you?
I got nothing on this one. I laid off. I was
off.
Yeah, I was gonna put Hernandez in a parlay, but then I overthought it and I got a little bit scared of Shabazian's power and just laid off. I'll never be ashamed in doing that when I just can't get there mentally. So yeah, nothing for me on this one.
Fair play. Emily Ducote, Lupi Godinez. Got anything on that one?
I got Lupi as the tail end of one of my parlays.
All right.
That's it.
I got Lupi Godinez over 50.5 significant strikes. That's the only thing I got on that one. The reasoning behind that is Lupi is not a massive volume puncher, she only lands 3.42, so she could mix in the wrestling. But this one is heavily favored to go 3 rounds, and in her last 2 3 round bouts, she's gone over that pretty comfortably. And Emily Ducote gets hit a lot. We saw Angela Hill put up 182 on her, and Jessica Penne still put up 63 on her in a 3 round bout in one that she was dominating. So she's very hittable. She'll be there to get hit. And I think Godinez, that's just too low for Godinez at 50.5. So that's paired up with Mackenzie Dern under 71.5 significant strikes. So in total, it's under 71.5 significant strikes for Mackenzie Dern, paired up with over 50.5 significant strikes for Lupe Godinez. That's on NHA 3.2x for a unit there. That's the only thing I got on that one. I really wanted to get to Godinez, but being short notice and it likely going the distance, just didn't really couldn't get myself to do it. She's burned
Yeah.
me many times in the past, so laid off there, just like the strikes. Andre Fialho and Joaquin Buckley. What do you got on that one?
So I wanted to get the Fialho in the first round and play kind of both sides of this and just hope to get lucky for a big play, but I just don't see him winning at all. So I didn't like Buckley's money line either. Thought it was too expensive, but I do have Buckley second round KO plus 550 for a tenth of a unit, and Buckley round 3 KO for a tenth of a unit at plus 1,000. Just because, I mean, if you watch Andre Fialho's last few fights, man, he gasses after that first round, and a lot of guys end up putting him away. So, and Buckley coming down from 185, he's already a pretty powerful guy, and I think he can find the chin somewhere in the middle to the late half of that fight.
Yeah, I'm not too invested in this one. I just got a little sprinkle on Buckley round 3 KO plus 1,000 for 0.2 units for the same reasons you just explained.
Yeah.
Then I also got him under 41.5 significant strikes for Joaquin Buckley. Reasoning behind that is he could mix in the wrestling early, and he could stick with that throughout the entirety of the fight. But both guys are live to get finished. Both guys have knockout power. So this one, if they go at it early, I think they could put each other out early. But honestly, I could see this being a bit of a slow start because both guys are coming off knockout losses. Might want to feel each other out and not be super aggressive at the start. Fialho, pretty easy to hit, but he can't take it that well. He doesn't take that many shots that well, especially if the fight goes on. Michael Johnson, Diego Fajeda. What do you got on that?
Oh, you already know, rocking with Michael Johnson on the money line for 1.5 units at plus 145. This would be a great cash if we can get that. Because him and Angela Hill are my last 2 straight bets of the night, and they're both 1.5 units as plus 145 and plus 155. So we can end the night hitting those two. It's probably going to be a damn good night. So, yeah, I just think Diego, you watch some of his fights, and it's like he kind of gets tired a little bit towards the end. He might try to wrestle a little bit, but he doesn't have like phenomenal like wrestling. Like, yeah, he's good on the ground, has a decent amount of submissions on his record, but you look at all the fights he has, I think he's got over 20 pro fights and he has 7 submissions and like 3 knockouts. So he's not like finishing everybody. He has a lot of decision wins and some decision losses. So it's like, I just, against Michael Johnson, a guy who's seen every single style of fighter, a guy who has phenomenal hands, who even getting to be, 36 years old, he looked phenomenal against Mark Jacasey, stuffed all the takedowns, pieced him up on the feet. If that Michael Johnson shows up, I think he wins this fight 30-27. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on Michael Johnson as well, plus 145 for a unit. I think the experience will be there as far as the ability to stuff the takedowns and not get subbed, because I think that's most likely Fajeda's path to victory there. I think on the feet, he should be able to take over and get a win. At the dog, I think it was dog or pass, and I'm going to take the dog. So,
Yeah, and also I forgot I got a little hedge on that one. Diego Fajeda submission plus 240 for a quarter of a unit, just to win a little bit back if we lose that one. And look, Michael Johnson, Diego Fajeda, 38 years old with a somewhat of a long layoff. So if he's coming off of having not fighting in a year, and he's this old now. I mean, you might just see a dude that's just a lot slower than he was before. So I like Michael Johnson a lot here.
Mahashate and Vyacheslav Borshev. We're both on Borshev. I got him at minus 152 for 2 units. My guy needs a win here, and I think he's got a good matchup. Favorable towards him. I don't think Mahashate is going to be able to wrestle him like Borshev's last couple opponents. And if he does try to, I don't think he's going to be able, like successful at it. I think that's kind of out of his element at this point. Younger fighter, not as experienced. Borshev, super experienced with the hands. If it's on the feet, I think he gets the better of the exchanges. And, coming off 2 losses, I think he's bound to get a little bit undervalued in this spot. So I'll take him minus 152 for 2 units. That's the biggest play on the card for me. What about you?
Yep, I'm on him too. That's my biggest play as well. 2.6 units. And I think he's a lot better than his last 2 fights. Like the results of the last 2 fight leads on. I mean, I don't think Mahashate is going to come out there and take it to the ground. Yeah, Mahashate has that great knockout over Steve Garcia. But man, you watch Slava Claus and he's got really, really slick hands. He just hasn't really been able to show it yet because of the style of opponents he's fought. I think this is the one where he gets him going and he, shows that he belongs. So, like you said, he needs a win. I like him here.
Karolina Kowalkiewicz and Vanessa Demopoulos. You got anything on that one?
I don't have anything on this one. You do though, don't you?
Yeah, I had a Demopoulos at plus 115 for a unit. I think she's down to around 105, plus 105. So a little bit of closing line value there. I just went with her because she's got the ability to submit Carolina. Carolina's been submitted fairly recently too against Jessica Penne. And that was by armbar, and that's like Demopoulos' move. So she's got the ability to end the fight if it does hit the ground. And if it's on the feet, I don't think she's going to be as technical as Kowalkiewicz, but she's going to be putting the pressure on her. She could use some cage control as well. She's just a come forward type of fighter. And I like that in this spot, especially smaller cage. If she's able to stay moving forward and just keep backing her up at the plus money, I think it's good enough for me. So I took it. That's the only thing I got on that one. Almost went with a sub prop for Demopoulos, but it gets tougher to sub these girls when you go up in the division.
Yeah.
Orion Kosi and Gilbert Urbina. What do you like on this one?
Gilbert Urbina money line plus 125 for 1.5 units. And man, Kosi beat Blood Diamond. He's been finished before and he got the finish on Dana White's Contender Series, but man, he seems to slow down and gas. And against Blood Diamond, who's a kickboxer, like strictly a kickboxer, he was able to get by because he could, kind of get him up against the cage and grind it down. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that as well against Urbina. Urbina in the fight with Battle looked phenomenal in that first round. Got his own takedown, was landing big shots. I just see him being kind of more the athlete here and, more slick striking and somewhat of a ground game. I just think Kosi, kind of tries to bully dudes when he can, but he's not that big of a welterweight here. So yeah, I just think Gilbert Urbina as an underdog is a phenomenal play. I don't think he should be the underdog here at all.
Yeah, that was my thoughts too. Because when I was looking at this card, I saw that matchup and I was like, if Kosi is going to be the favorite against Urbina, I gotta play Urbina. With the layoff since his last fight, I only assume him to get better. He's only 27 years old, I believe, so he's going to be the bigger fighter too, coming down from 185. So I think like all the stuff that you said, he's just going to be the better all around MMA fighter. So I got him plus 125 for a unit. That was the first play I locked in this week because I had a feeling it was going to move towards Urbina's side as the week went on. I think it's around plus 100 now, somewhere around there. So damn near a pick 'em. So we're getting some good closing line value there. I also got Orion Kosi under 43.5 significant strikes paired with Joaquin Buckley under 41.5 significant strikes, 3x for a unit. That's on Prize Picks. Took the under on Kosi significant strikes because the man is not high volume on the feet. He's likely going to have to wrestle in this spot, being the smaller guy, and that's somewhat of his base. Like if he's on the feet, he throws some hard haymakers, but his go-to is going to be the takedowns. In his last 2 fights, he had 25 significant strikes. That's a 3-round fight. And then when he got finished by Phil Rowe in the second round, he had 22. So if it goes the distance, I see a world where he's, maybe 35, higher 30s if it does go the distance, and then it's got the ability to get finished. So I'll take that as well. Alir Latifi, Rodrigo Nascimento, a greasy heavyweight fight. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, so I think Nascimento, being younger, I mean, he should win this fight, no questions. But I mean, this is heavyweight at the end of the day, and this level, anything happens. So wasn't super confident, but I did throw him into a little parlay, and that parlay is Nascimento, Slava Claus, and Loopy plus 294 for a half unit.
Only thing I got on this one, and it took me a while to get there, but I'm like, I think this is the right play. Plus 125 for the fight to go the distance for a half unit. Didn't go a full unit, just a half at plus 125. I think it's solid price there, because I think in the smaller cage, these guys are probably going to be leaning on each other a lot. Like Latifi doesn't want to stand at range with Nascimento because he's going to be so much smaller. He's going to have to keep the pace forward and close the distance. And I think it could be a world where they just start to get tired second round, third round. They're just kind of leaning on each other, maybe trading position on the ground. Nascimento has only been to decision one time, and it was his last fight. And I just don't think there's a world where he finishes Latifi. I don't think he subs him because Latifi, it's going to be really tough to get subbed. He's never been subbed.
Right.
I don't think he knocks him out either because I don't think Latifi is going to just stand there and take shots. Like, even though he's 40 years old, and I want to think he could get finished, he's only been finished by like Volkan Oezdemir and Ryan Bader in the past 7 years. And he's fighting like heavyweights like Derek Lewis and light heavyweights Corey Anderson, like guys with some solid power. So
yeah,
I think it goes to distance. But light heavyweights gets pretty greasy. Chase Hooper, Nick Fiore. Did you go with your boy Chase Hooper?
No, I did not. I'm gonna sit back at this fight and just laugh, honestly. But I did take Nick Fiore round 3 KO plus 2,000.
Wow.
Because listen, man, I could see the first few rounds just being greasy and not much happening besides Chase Hooper, Eminari rolling and throwing weak spinning elbows and all that stuff. And then, Nick Fiore, the New England cartel with Rob Font and a lot of those killers over there, he's got to be able to throw something. So maybe he just wears down Chase Hooper and gets on top and just ground and pounds him into a KO late in the fight. So we're going to pray on it. 10th of a unit. So if this one loses, it's just whatever, $10, who cares? But if it hits, a couple of units in the bag. So that's what I got.
I got Nick Fiore on the money line minus 130 for a unit. I had to go with him. I just don't believe in Chase Hooper at all because he has nothing to offer on the feet. Even if he does hit you, like it's not hurting you like at all. And Nick Fiore took some monstrous shots from Mateusz Rebecki, who's actually a good fighter, and he was a big underdog in that fight, survived. So if it goes to the ground, I think he should be able to match Chase Hooper. I don't like this quick of a move up to 155 for Chase Hooper. Like, I don't think he might look a little thicker at the weigh-ins, but when he gets in there, like, his last fight was in October, damn near November. So it's not like he spent the time to really put the weight on like correctly and like make sure it's good muscle. Yeah. So all he's doing is going from 145 a few months later, 6-7 months later, and then going up to the heavier hitters at 155. I think that's a terrible move. I think if he wanted to do that, he probably should have done that, maybe a year or two off and done it later. But
right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nick Fiore money line. on that one. Victoria Leonardo, Natalia Silva. The only thing I got on this one is the under 2.5, minus 140 for a unit. Basically because I think Natalia Silva should finish her, and this was a better price than Silva inside the distance, at least at the book that I was at, minus 140 to under 2.5. That covers you both sides if the finish happens as well. So, minus 140 for a unit, I'll take it. What about you?
Yeah, no, I ended up getting Silva and Leonardo under 2.5 rounds, minus 120 for 1.2 units to win 1 unit. So, yeah, I just like I was telling you earlier, I could see Silva coming in there and just mauling her and finding this finish pretty quickly. And I also took a little Silva sub prop plus 195 for a half a unit. And then my parlay, my lotto parlay is Silva submission and Garimbo submission plus 962 for zero point 0.2 units. So let's just get a Silva sub real early and we'll be off to a good start.
I like it. Parlaying that into the curtain jerker, Takashi Sato and Themba Garimbo. Not invested in this fight very much. The only thing I got is a little sprinkle on Themba Garimbo by sub at plus 250 for 0.2 units. So just throwing it on there. I think Sato has been subbed a good amount of times. That's Garimbo's go-to finisher. So I'll take it. Plus 250. I think it's good enough for me to sprinkle a little bit on there. What do you got?
Yeah, I got Garimbo on the money line plus 100 on BetOpenly for 1 unit. Yeah, I just think the length is going to give Sato a lot of problems. Sato, has a tough go of it lately. There could be some mental block in there too. That head kick knockout against Brian Battle. I mean, he just is struggling right now, and he's going to go in there against a guy who's a lot longer, taller, lengthier. I mean, it's going to be tough for him to close the distance and find a big shot that he needs. And I could see Garimbo snatching that neck up with those long limbs. So yeah, give me Themba on the money line, and then of course the second leg of that parlay.
All right, that is the double leg exclusive show where we break down what's going on with our premium bets. Hopefully, if you're watching this before, we have some good luck going into tomorrow. If you're watching this after, hopefully we cashed out. And hopefully we have a good week because we don't have a card next week. We do have some road to the UFC, though, so I don't know if you checked that out. So we might dive into that a little bit, but no UFC card the following week. So let's end the 8-week period on a good note here. The double leg on all the medias. If you're watching here on YouTube, drop a subscription down below. Till we see you in the next video. Double leg signing out.